We now return to I Married a Reploid, the story of young Hub Netto, a self-insert fanfic character who married the Maverick Hunter navigator Alia, which caused quite a lot of controversy. Well, like I discussed, we didn't have a lot of support from the community because, well, most people saw our marriage as, well, quite honestly, an abomination. So we knew that our son was going to have a hard time when he eventually started school. Being the child of a human and a Reploid, obviously he was going to have a hard time fitting in with the other children. Say hello, son. Say hello. See, Emma? I told you humans and machines can have children!
You actually believe this absolute rubbish? This is the most preposterous thing I've ever heard. This is impossible, not to mention a crime against nature.
You're seeing it with your own eyes, Emma.
What I'm seeing is a film crew spouting the most nonsensical rubbish to try and make a TV show. This is scientifically impossible.
Right, says the girl who hangs out with both a demon and a genetically modified mercenary. But I digress. So, what's on the agenda for today?
Today we're beginning Heaven's Lost Property to see if you have any memories tied to it.
Right, gotcha. Well, let's see how this series turns out. This is going to be Rosario and Vampire all over again, isn't it? Why, oh why, do the Japanese think being perverted is funny? What kind of example does that set for the younger viewers who watch this kind of thing? You're going to make kids think being a pervert is okay.
KHF really hates perverts, doesn't he?
And for good reason. One of the reasons I loved Oh My Goddess so much was the fact that they didn't needlessly make their main protagonist a pervert, and didn't use perverted humour in order to get his relationship with the main heroine across, which, to me, helped build on the idea that they genuinely loved each other. Now, that's not to say that Oh My Goddess was completely devoid of perverted humour, far from it, because Erd did some pretty raunchy things. However, they never went too far with it all, and they did show that there was in fact more levels to her character than just having her breasts on display. Now the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's not hard to imagine that Oh My Goddess was part of the inspiration for this series. But from what I've seen from this first episode, they completely missed what it was that made that series so great. I'm sorry, but I don't think that perverted humour that objectifies women is funny. Women aren't toys. They're human beings who deserve respect. On the one hand, you could make the argument that the main character's perverted behaviour is meant to be seen as a bad thing and looked down on. However, the younger audience who take a lot of their moral values from this sort of thing aren't going to see it that way, and they're going to think that this kind of behaviour towards women is okay. Besides which, given just how often this happens in anime and the way in which it's presented, I actually do think we're meant to find this kind of humour funny. But again, I don't think treating women like objects is funny.
Wow. When you get past his idiocy, KHF actually has quite the noble side.
Well, I suppose I should discuss what I saw and why it ticked me off so much. Alright, so the series begins with some kid babbling on and on and on about some crap about how there's so much we don't understand in this world and how the only way to truly believe in wonder is to properly experience it for yourself. That's not bad philosophy. But he uses what lies up a girl's skirt as an example of mystic wonder. So it begins. Anyway, the whole reason he's spouting all this philosophy is because in their world there's this weird black hole thing that hovers above them, and no scientist has ever been able to determine what exactly it is. Oh, and by the way, when he's going on about how the world up a girl's skirt is a world of mystic wonder, he's looking up the skirt of an action figure. You know what, it's not even worth making fun of you. After this crap, we cut to an open field where another kid is giving a monologue about a dream he's had every day since he was a kid. Basically, he's standing there looking at a girl that he's never met before, yet feels absolute love for. Right, because someone your age would know exactly what that kind of love feels like, especially with someone you've never met. The kind of love that comes from being with somebody for a lifetime. How the heck would you know what that feels like when you've barely even begun your lifetime? You have no idea what that kind of love actually feels like.
What, and you do? You've felt that kind of love, have you?
Yes, I have actually, twice.
Oh right, sorry. Wait, the first time was obviously Ren, but who was the second time with then?
Anyway, after spouting this rubbish about the kind of love he knows nothing about, he says the dream ends when he approaches this girl and she's taken up into the sky, away from him. We then cut to him asleep in bed, being woken up by a girl who at first I thought was meant to be his sister, and given what happened next, I was very relieved to find out she wasn't. As she tries to pull him out of bed... Wait a minute, hold on. If this girl isn't your sister, then why is she in your house in the first place? Did she break in or something? Keeping in mind, at first I thought this girl was meant to be his sister. So, you can only imagine how disgusting I found this joke. Especially considering he doesn't seem to have a problem with her seeing that. Afterwards she chops him in the head, and then we cut to the two of them getting ready to make their way to school. When they finally get to their school, this main kid starts narrating about how he just wanted to live a peaceful, easy, carefree, lazy life. Basically doing absolute jack for the rest of his life. So basically, you're telling people it's okay to just be lazy and spend the rest of your life just being a waste of space. Top notch! Oh, and get used to him talking about this, because he never, and I do mean never, shuts up about it. That's one thing I've always hated about anime, both good and bad. It's when a character never stops going on and on and on about a certain subject, be it their philosophy on life, or the main theme of the series, or the mystery of the show. I seriously find myself sitting there just saying, yeah, I get it. I get it. I heard you the first time you said it, and I got it then too. Look, once you've established something about a character or the plot, there's no need to go harping back to it. People aren't so stupid that they'll forget important facts in the next 5 seconds. If you keep repeating yourself, it's just going to get annoying and put people off your story. Then again, your perverted humour every 10 seconds is already doing that for me anyway. So this kid falls asleep in class, something he really enjoys doing no less, and the girl who is not his sister wakes him up. She asks him if he's had that dream he described at the beginning again because he's crying when he wakes up. Wait, hold on, that's bad continuity then. If he has had the exact same dream every time he falls asleep for years on end, then why wasn't he crying when she woke him up from it earlier? Before, the dream had just made him very happy, and now it makes him cry? What the heck? Well, in any case, they're interrupted when somebody rushes into their classroom to tell them that somebody's about to jump off the roof of their school. Let me tell you, I wanted to jump off of a roof after watching this episode. For a moment, I actually believed that this series was going to have a moment where it presents a serious message about teenage suicides. But instead it just turns out to be that dweeb who was babbling on and on about Mystic Wonder earlier, standing on the roof with a hang glider, attempting to fly off the roof. But hey, I'm the idiot in this situation for actually being stupid enough to believe that this series would actually have any sort of message about serious issues in real life.
Well, at least you're admitting when you've been an idiot this time.
This whole situation is obviously meant to be funny, but why am I not laughing? When they finally get outside, they ask this girl, who's apparently this dweeb's childhood friend, if she's gonna attempt to stop him from doing something reckless and stupid and risking breaking his neck. She responds with some nonsensical rubbish, and this dweeb attempts to fly off the roof. Wait, come to think of it, where are the teachers in all of this? It's their duty to protect the students, so why are no teachers trying to stop him from doing something so dangerous? Why has nobody gone up to the roof to try and stop him or talk him down? Are they just sitting in the staff room just saying, huh, kids these days do such crazy things? Hey, that's the attitude the teachers in Rosario and Vampire took, and look what happened there! Students died! But back to the plot. This dweeb tries to fly off the roof, but he ends up crashing and burning. Well, not literally burning, but you get what I mean. Afterwards, the main kid and the girl who's not his sister go up to him and ask him about the main kid's dream, despite his objections about how he just wants to live an easy life. Alright, there's thinking your life is of little worth because you haven't found anything you're particularly good at, which I know a lot of kids your age feel like. But then there's not even trying to find out if your life has any worth and just letting the world pass you by without even trying to contribute anything towards it. One is born of insecurity, the other is born of laziness. And you, kid, are in the latter, and you should be ashamed. But you're not, are you? Life is a precious gift, and you're wasting it by choosing to do nothing with it. Anyway, this dweeb starts babbling on about the philosophy and theories that people have come up with pertaining to as to why humans dream. He then directs their attention to a monitor where he studies the abnormality that was mentioned earlier. They mention that no scientist has been able to figure out what this thing is, but he says that he's figured out what it is. He says that it is in fact something of mystery and wonder. Huh. You know, that's not what figuring out exactly what it is means. That's just saying what your personal perspective on it is, while there's no actual evidence to say what it is in actuality. But in any case, he asks if the two of them will join him that evening in coming to take a look at this abnormality. The main character objects again because he wants an easy life. Again, we heard you the first time! But, despite his objections about how he doesn't want to go, he ends up being the only one who shows up. You know, if you really didn't want to go, you could have, you know, not gone! As it turns out, the girl who's not his sister wasn't allowed to go because her parents didn't want her staying out late. And it was only at this point that I actually realised that she wasn't his sister. As for the dweeb, well, his childhood friend from earlier apparently called him up to do something. So, despite not wanting to be there in the first place and nobody turning up, this kid decides to stay right there. Huh. Suddenly, he gets a call from the dweeb telling him he needs to get out of there because the anomaly is about to do something terrible. Wait. If nobody knows what this thing is yet, then how exactly do you know how it's gonna act? It's not even halfway through the episode yet, and there's already continuity errors and plot holes that are big enough that you could shove Tomoki's ego into them.
Tomoki's ego is pretty huge.
Suddenly, this strange girl with wings falls from the sky and crashes into the ground next to the main character. An otherworldly girl with wings falling from the sky like a meteor? Yeah, in anime world we call that Tuesday. So, instead of going up to this girl and seeing if she's alright and unharmed, this kid instead decides to run away screaming. Huh. All of a sudden, some strange pillars start falling from the sky all around him, and it's only at this point he decides he should probably go and check and see if that girl's alright, despite how it will interrupt his easy life. Shut up about that already! Anyway, just before one of these weird pillar things can crush them, this winged girl saves the boy and says that a connection has been established, before a chain appears from her neck and around the boy's hand. She then tells him that she's apparently some kind of angel-droid thing, I don't know, and says that he's now her master. Establishing a link with a master, eh? Ren. Well, anyway, he wakes up the next day to find this girl sitting next to his bed. She then tells him that he's now her master and that it's her duty to perform any task he desires to happen. So, you're dragging a woman around on a chain whom you have total mastery over, who has to do whatever you say without objection, who heck even refers to herself as a pet class angel droid thingy or whatever. Wow, wow. There's sexism all over the place here, isn't there? Oh, and hey, you're promoting the idea of slavery as well. Again, top notch. This winged girl can seriously do anything he requests. When he asks, for example, if she can make him filthy rich, she literally makes it rain down money upon him. She then says that there's absolutely no limitation on what she can do, that she can grant him absolutely any request. Remember she said that for later on. So his next request is that he can be invisible so that he can spy on the girl who's not his sister while she changes. Oh, and by the way, keep in mind that both of them are only meant to be 14. That's gross! Anyway, he then proceeds to go over and grope her. You perverted little scumbag! After this, he requests the ability to stop time, which he then uses to go around looking up girls' skirts and stealing their panties. That's it, you little brat! Calm down, Kay. Don't tell me to calm down. He can't go around spreading the message that this kind of behaviour is okay. He just can't. I know it annoys you, Kay, and I know why it annoys you. But you have to remember, rise above hate. Right.
Is there any reason you guys keep quoting one of John Cena's t-shirt slogans?
Anyway, after having a huge feast, this little scumbag then says that his next request is that he wants world domination. Because, you know, he's already a big enough scumbag as it is, he might as well go the whole distance. The next day, he finds out that this request requires everybody on Earth to disappear because none of them would ever accept him as their supreme overlord. Oh, it's so hard to imagine why. Finally showing a shred of decency, he asks the winged girl to cancel this request, which she says she can't do. Because she was built without the ability to cancel requests. Okay, no, just no. You said, plain and simple, that you were built to grant any request that your master makes. Asking you to cancel a request is in itself a request, so therefore you have to grant it. If you can't do that, then that means that what you said about yourself was in fact a lie. There are continuity errors and plot holes up the wazoo here.
Did you actually just say up the wazoo?
After everybody has been wiped off the face of the earth, this little scumbag starts to regret ever making that wish. The winged girl then asks him if it would just be better if she just killed herself. To which he says yes. Oh, you just keep getting better and better, don't you, kid? When she begins granting this request, he immediately regrets it and begs her to cancel it. Something she's told him 3 times now that she can't do. I know that it's stupid and doesn't make a lot of sense, but hey, that's how things are. In the end, he has to force her to stop and then says that he wishes that the past 2 days could turn out to be nothing more than a bad dream. Something that she grants for him. What the heck? So, you can turn back time so that a number of days didn't happen, but you can't cancel or reverse a request once it's already in progress? That's just dumb! You basically have the powers of a god, and yet you can't stop yourself once you start doing something? That's dumb! And so the episode ends with the kid basically summarising the events that have happened and saying that his life is going to be anything but easy from now on. Oh, you think so? Overall, this series has not gotten off to a good start with me. The writing for this episode is truly terrible, and the main character is so badly established. I'm really not sure if we're meant to think what he's doing is funny, or if we're meant to look down on him for doing it, but either way, this series has gotten off to a terrible start with me. I've received a lot of requests to do this series, so I hope that it improves over this genuinely terrible start that it's gotten off to. I hope that the writing starts to improve, because as it is, it's so poorly written, it's actually insulting to your intelligence.
Well then, it's a good thing you don't have any intelligence then.
I definitely don't think I'll have any left by the time this series is over if things don't start to improve soon. Well, I suppose I should talk. Turning into a high pillow. Anyway, after spouting this rubbish about the kind of love he knows nothing about, he goes on to say the dream always ends with him approaching this girl and her... Don't know what that was I just did. Anyway, after spouting this rubbish about... Anyway, after spouting this rubbish about... Why do I keep getting tongue-tied with this one? We then cut to him as she tries to pull him out of bed. Hold on, wait a minute. As she tries to pull him out of bed... Hold on, wait a minute. If this girl isn't your sister, then how the heck... Keeping in mind, at first I thought this girl was meant to be his sister. So, you can only imagine how disgusting I found this joke. Especially considering... Gosh. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? When they finally get to their school, this main kid starts narrating about how he just wanted to live an easy, peaceful, carefree... When they finally get to their school, this main kid starts narrating about how he just wanted to live a peaceful... something. If you keep repeating yourself, it just gets annoying and it puts people off your story. Then again... But then there's not even trying to find out if your life has any work. But then there's not even trying to find out if your life has any worth and just letting the word... Trying to figure out if your life doesn't have any work and just letting the word pass you by. I'm on a roll today, I really am. As it turns out, the girl who's not his sister... So, you can turn back time so that a certain number of days didn't happen, but you can't cancel or... Hashtag toaster child.